Hey, it's Brooklyn Lou the Skeptic, former evangelical Christian, now an atheist. Welcome to my live. I'm hoping to speak to some people. I do this because I want to open my channel to anyone that wants to talk, and it can be about anything. It doesn't matter. And I think it's important for a content creator on YouTube to at least be available to anyone that wants to actually talk person to person. So this is one of the big reasons that I do this live, and I'm available. I open up my channel. People can hear any criticisms or anything we talk about, and that's why I do them. Today, I would like to speak about or take in any discussions about why people do believe in God. Okay, and I know people have different reasons, but I'd love to hear some of them. So, hey, Deep State Annex, how are you today? There's the link to the stream. If anyone wants to come on and talk in person, that's the link there. Post it again. Copy. Yeah, that's the link. But we can chat in person or we can chat on the comments. I get a lot of criticism lately from Christians, which is not abnormal for me. But I particularly like when I open this up, if anyone wants to talk directly and communicate about the things of their particular religion. Also, I love to talk about other things as well. You can bring up a topic, it's fine with me. But welcome as we sit and talk. Wait for anyone if you want to join the conversation, feel free to. So, hola. Hi, Henrim 9348. Welcome in. Chat today is open. Got my first guest coming on, Doc Light. Let me let him in here. Hey, Doc Light, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. How you doing, Lou?
Okay, nice to see you.
Yeah, my phone was messed up for a while, and I couldn't get on lives, but I had to get me a new phone.
I'm due for one of them too. Yeah, I can't stand changing. That's why I keep delaying because you got to change passwords and all that stuff.
I kept my old one till I pretty much broke it and had to get a new one. But it's been a lot better since I got the new one.
Cool. How's everything going for you?
It's hit and miss, man. I'm driving on a suspended, so I'm shitting bricks anytime I go anywhere. I'm fighting a DUI for driving tired right now. I got a DUI for driving while tired.
Oh, you're not driving right now, right?
I'm in my travel trailer.
Yeah. Wow. Well, be very careful, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's bullshit because we have the constitutional right to travel, but they override that when we get our license. Because if you have to have a license for something, then you no longer have a right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I definitely understand, and be real careful because it's like a cycle. You get caught for one thing and then another thing, and next thing you know,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, I'm
buried.
shitting bricks anytime I leave the house for sure, man. I've
Yeah,
never paid so much attention in my life.
yeah. Well, gonna keep my fingers crossed for you, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, why do you think people actually believe in God?
Well, I'm theist, so you can just ask me why I believe in God. I can't
Yeah,
speak
but
for other people.
yeah, but I mean, why do you? I mean, you have your own theology, so you're a little
Yeah.
different than most, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have your own kind of belief system, and
Well, I'm writing the book. The book is in the process.
what do you have a title?
Well, I'm actually writing 3 different books. One of them is going to be on my poetry, and one of them is going to be all about deconstructing from Abrahamic religions. That one's going to be called "The Big Beautiful Book of Defiance of the Broken Theology of Abraham." And then my third one is going to be all about just my own theology, which is going to be called Dark Lightism. It's an ism.
So is that the name of your belief system? Your
Yeah,
belief
Dark
system?
Lightism. Yeah,
Dark
dark light.
lightism?
Yeah, Dark Light Theology or Dark Lightism. Yep.
I know I've told you this before. I told you when I first met you on here. Um, I think your theology makes as much sense as anybody else's.
I think it makes more sense. It's more logically consistent, because Abrahamic theology, they are very logically inconsistent.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. I find I mean the Judeo-Christian theology is really illogical.
Oh, riddled with it, man. It's ridiculous. It's ate up with inconsistencies.
Yeah, for sure. But
I just
they can't see it though. It's like
that's the cognitive bias. Yeah.
yeah, they have cognitive bias. That's a very good word right there.
Well, they see it. The funny thing is, they see it in other religions, but they just don't see it in their own. It's fucking hilarious.
It is. It's so weird.
Yeah.
They're very weird.
So you notice when they see it in other religions that they do see it, they just can't see it in themselves.
Yes. And that's what I really that little part of it is like mind blowing.
If they just 100% didn't see it in any other religions or theirs, then that would be more consistent. But here we go with the logical inconsistencies again. They consistently see the holes in other theologies, but not their own.
Yes, for sure. For sure. That is true. I mean, I've been discussing belief with someone online recently. Really in-depth conversation.
Yeah.
But like he thinks it makes sense that Jesus came from heaven, came to earth, was a man, died, went up into the sky, is now controlling the universe, and that makes sense. But it doesn't make sense that like Muhammad split the moon,
Yeah.
Whereas to me, they're both irrational, crazy thoughts,
Yeah. I just got done.
One makes sense to him and the other one doesn't,
Yeah. That goes right in line with what we were talking about, where you can see the illogicality of other religions, but not your own.
Yes. And that's that bias. I mean, you got the words right and everything. Dark light, It's cognitive bias. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I recorded a 2-hour video just not too long ago. I got done recording it and it didn't record on my phone. I'm so pissed. I don't know what happened. It was recording. Maybe it was too long or something. It did turn out a little bit longer than I thought, but then I went back to check it out and it didn't record. So I got to re-record it all over again. I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah, I tell you, I spend a lot of time on YouTube and doing all this stuff, and it's so frustrating. A lot of times I make a mistake and it screws up everything, and got to go back in and try to fix things. And
Only if you're a creator do you know. Like if you're just a viewer, you don't know about that kind of stuff. But if you make videos enough, you're going to make a video that didn't get recorded or the sound doesn't record right and you got to redo it.
Oh God, I've had sound where I went through the hassle of making something and then the sound was all screwed up. Yeah, that happens.
Oh, so I got a Hebrew Israelite to agree to come on my next episode of my podcast, which I'm going to be having soon.
Well, that's going to be interesting.
Well, I've been annoying him in his lives because he goes on live all the time, and I called him up a couple times, and in his comment section and stuff, so he knows who I am, and so yeah, it will be interesting. This guy ain't scared at all. I saw him first on the Fight Back podcast with Jake Shields. He's a retired UFC fighter, and check him out if you haven't heard of him. He does all kinds of awesome. Now he is Christian, but he also he talks to all kinds of different people about very controversial stuff, which is right up my alley. I mean, I don't agree with his perception, and I've been trying to get on his podcast too, but he's been actively ignoring me. But I first saw this guy. His name is Captain Tazaria, and he has a school right up there in New York, somewhere around you.
You know, a lot of people on the YouTube, they try to like only have certain people on their platforms and all that sort of stuff. And I don't go for that. I literally would have anybody on,
Well, that's boring.
Yeah. I mean,
you're only going to have people on that agree with you. What kind of boring bullshit is that?
Right. Yeah, it is boring. It's like, there should be some tension sometimes, right?
Yeah. If everyone just agrees and gets along with everything, like what you might as well just be talking to yourself,
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would be boring if everyone in my life just was a robot of me. Man,
yeah.
I don't want that. I like a little bit of push and pull, right?
A little resistance.
There's faith beyond fear. I make videos for the purpose of Jesus Christ, not smoke or money. Leave that for the evil one. I guess there's a Christian right there making videos for the purpose of Jesus Christ. Well, you're free to come on, Faith Beyond.
Oh, for viewers watching me that don't know nothing about me, I'm a non-Abrahamic true monotheist. Followers of Abraham are a blood cult of sin worshippers. Yahweh, Jesus, and Allah are desert war gods of hypocrisy. And I'm developing my own theology.
You are unique, and I must say, and I say this sincerely, you do think for yourself, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't get along with anyone because I'm not in anyone's lane. I do my own thing, but that kind of lets me float around anywhere I want. Because once you're used to not fitting in anywhere, that makes you stop trying to fit in anywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the easiest thing and the most comfortable place to be in life is when you could be yourself and actually feel comfortable and not worried about what you say and your thoughts. I call it the strength or the power of not giving a shit.
Yeah.
And it's important. I mean, I went through that years ago, and I stopped giving a shit. quite a while ago.
That's a big weight off your shoulders, man.
Yes, yes, it is, man. It truly is. It's like, phew. Yeah.
Well, you have this social filter that is being imposed upon you by society, and you can either accept that or you can reject that, you know. And if you reject that, there's going to be tension there because you're going against the grain, but also you're carving your own path.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's freedom, man.
Yeah.
You know. Let's see. We got a request for you, Darklight.
Yeah.
Addis, I'm on StreamYard, so I'm looking at StreamYard, but
yeah,
Addis
I can't see any comments.
Says, can you explain your belief, Darklight? Go ahead, explain it.
So, I've developed. It's called the Darklight Decalogue, and the first 5 traits of the Decalogue are empirically verified by science. The second 5 traits of the Decalogue are more metaphysical, but they are directly related to the first 5. They're like a fractal synthesis of it. So it is unity, consciousness, dark, light, and paradox. That's the first 5. And all 5 of those are actually 100% scientifically verifiable. Then the second 5 is freedom, sovereignty, infinity, remembrance, and saturation. Okay. And the second 5 are more metaphysical, but they have a direct fractal synthesis link to the first 5. And so if you link them, it becomes unity is freedom, consciousness is sovereignty, dark is infinity, light is remembrance, and paradox is saturation. That's the Dark Light Decalogue that I've been working on.
Let's see if he has any further questions.
I got a fuck ton of notes. I got a fuck ton of notes that I'm compiling for my book. Well, multiple books, really. I just spent 4 or 5 hours today working on this comment to a Christian. There's an atheist that I follow on Facebook. He's a friend of Durante Lamar. His name is Kyle Butler. And I just posted this one statement. I said, "We are all God." And this Christian came at me all sideways and shit. And so I spent hours responding to his he had, you know, a few different things, and I spent hours responding to it. And it took me 2 hours just to go through and record my responses. So that's the video I just recorded that I'm gonna have to redo. But I went through all kinds of different stuff. I covered the omni claims of the Abrahamic gods. Okay, and there's multiple scriptures in the Bible that where they make the omni claims, right? But then you go through, and I found other scriptures that totally refute and contradict those omni claims. So Jesus Yahweh, well, first and foremost, Christians created a divergent version of the Jewish Yahweh. Okay, Yahweh said, "Do not add to or subtract any verses from my Torah," and he says that multiple times in multiple different ways. But yet the Christians come along and add a whole new covenant. I have like a big list of like 15 to 20 different major things that Christians changed about Yahweh. And how many things can you change about an unchanging God before it's undeniably a totally different God? I got a big old list of about 15 to 20 different things that the Christians changed. So, and I went through all this, and the guy I was responding to, after I listed all these like major things, he's like, "What are you talking about? I don't see any contradictions. There's no changes there." That's the cognitive bias we were talking about. I'm like, what the flying fuck, dude? There's a list right there in front of you of major changes between Yahweh and Jesus, because Christians like to play this game where they like to have all the authority of Yahweh, but they want to change everything about Yahweh. They will say Jesus came to fulfill the law, not abolish it. But that right there is a fucking lie, because they change so many things. I mean, they keep some things the same, but they change like 80% of everything about Yahweh. You know, they abolish, there's like 600 laws that the Jews have to follow, not just 10 commandments. They got like a fuck ton of laws. Jesus abolishes all that. Jesus creates hell. The Jews didn't create hell. They don't have, the closest thing they have is Sheol, which is a 12-month cleansing process. That the Jews believe in reincarnation. The Christians believe in only one life. You know, that's another major thing. The Jews believe in just one single God, a non-plurality. It's just one single God, whereas the Christians believe in the Trinity. That's another major change. These are just some that I'm taking off the top of my head from doing this video earlier. But
and all that, I always agree with you on stuff like that.
yeah,
It's just when you get into your beliefs that I don't necessarily agree with you.
Yeah.
Adesani is asking, you say that you're a true monotheist, but where is God in your belief? And then he follows up with, and did God reveal to you these things, or have you just discovered them?
Well,
Good
I was
question.
called on.
Good question.
I was called on by the actual one true Creator to defy the broken theology of Abraham everywhere I encounter it. But so that's one thing people like to ask me. They're like, "Okay, Dane, Mr. Smarty Pants. Well, what's the name of God then?" See, there is no one singular name that you can. As soon as you name one singular thing, you then disconnect it from all other names. And God owns all names and words ever spoken, because there is no name or word possible to be spoken without the breath of life which empowers it. So I say all words ever spoken are the word of God. All names ever spoken are the name of God. And see, the thing is, what makes the theology of Abraham broken is they incessantly attempt to interject divisions into that which is united. And they do that by constructs such as sin, such as hell, such as Satan. There's no such thing as sin, hell, and Satan. Okay, hell is supposed to be a state in which hell is a place in which the creator is separate from the creation. Okay, and if hell is true, then God is not omnipresent. Okay, because omnipresence literally means you exist everywhere. So if there is a place where God does not exist, then God is not omnipresent. But now, if God is a perfect creator, then there's no such thing as sin or hell. Because if God is a perfect creator, and if God created everything, then everything within creation is as well a perfect creation, and therefore there is no sin and there is no hell. So this is what I mean by I keep more consistent logic. Okay, I do believe in a perfect creator, but also I believe everything within creation is as well perfect.
You know, what you said, I never thought of. So that's a good thought that you had. And I agree, if omnipresence, but God is not in hell, obviously there's a contradiction.
Yeah. So if God is omnipresent, then hell does not exist. If hell does exist, then God is not omnipresent. You got to pick one.
Yeah. Or you could say God is in hell.
But if you define hell as a place which is separate from God, then once again, then hell can't be as they describe it. See, because Jews do believe in Sheol. See, because Christians, I say Christians are not true monotheists. Christians are a dualistic bitheism, and it's got nothing to do with the Trinity, which is why some people say Christians aren't monotheists. Because if you believe in two separate kingdoms, one of light and one of darkness, each with a maximally great ruler ruling over it, then you have now created two different gods. You have created two different distinct kingdoms, okay? And therefore you have shattered monotheism. You are now a dualistic bitheism.
Yeah. I see you put a lot of thought into this.
Oh yeah, I'm writing books on it, man. Like I spend hours watching theological shit every day.
I see Faith Beyond Fear. I want to comment back to him. He says, you can't publicly tear down Muhammad and the Muslims for your safety. You will always be shown love by Jesus Christ. Stay open for love. Well, Faith Beyond Fear, not all Christians show me love. I get a lot of hatred from Christians. I get love too. All right. And as far as like tearing down Muhammad and the Muslims, I have no problem.
I do.
Yeah. I have no problem.
I do. You can't, if you're a bitch ass nigga and you're afraid, then you can't. But But if you're a true believer, then not only should you, but not only can you, but you absolutely should if you don't believe in Islam. See, now here in America, that ain't no thing. Yeah, sure, you go over to a country that's dominated by Islam, then that's a different story. I wouldn't even go to an Islamic country personally. You will not catch me dead in an Islamic country because I can't help but defy them, and I know that's going to come with problems.
Well, I want Faith Beyond Fear to hear this. I think that Islam is BS. So that's cutting on Islam. I don't believe the things of Muhammad at all. All right. I think people can be good or bad, whether they're Islamic, Christian, Jew, or whatever.
Yeah, there's good Muslims out there. There's good Christians out there. Like most of my family is Christian. I'm totally a black sheep in my family.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm one of those.
I'm going to step further. I say fuck Yahweh, fuck Jesus, and fuck Muhammad. Openly, overtly. I will come out there and stand on it, dude.
Yeah.
Because, and I say fuck them because they are inherently saying fuck me. They're saying if I don't suck their God's dick, then I deserve to die. And I say fuck that shit, dude. I will bite that shit off. Bite that shit off.
I don't know if we need that visual.
Well, I'm just saying, theologically, you know, like they try to get you, they try to force you to capitulate and submit. I'm not down with that. And see, that's another thing. See, if God was all powerful, then he doesn't need anything from you. Okay. An all powerful God requires nothing from you. And the Abrahamic gods need the capitulation and submission of everyone. That's coveting right there. The Abrahamic gods break every single commandment that they impose upon everyone else.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot.
Yeah.
I had a video I made. God doesn't play by his own rules. Something.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, he certainly doesn't. I mean, he tells people to love their neighbor, and then he destroys people. You know.
Well, he says, "Don't kill." Yet the punishment for breaking the commandments is to be killed. So there's hypocrisy built in even into the very commandments themselves. Yahweh did not marry Mary, did he? Yet having a child out of wedlock is adultery. And it's actually double adultery because not only did Yahweh not marry Mary, but Mary was already betrothed to be married to another man. That is double adultery. And if the Trinity is true, then Jesus is a motherfucker. If the Trinity is true, then Jesus impregnated his own mother.
Yes, but
that's incest, which there are scriptures against.
But you're talking very straight up, and there's nothing illogical about what you're saying. But religious people don't go by logic or fact.
Yeah.
They just go by, it feels good, I like this, and because I mean, you're right. I mean, the whole, God impregnating a young girl is kind of weird,
So we're talking
like Muhammad, marrying a 9-year-old. That's kind of weird.
Never has there ever been a case observed where a woman got pregnant without sperm meeting the embryo. Okay, you could say there's artificial insemination where there's no sex. Okay, that's fine, but there still needs to be sperm and an embryo, even with artificial insemination. So there must have been sperm and an embryo. So that either way you slice it, that is still Jesus fucking his own mother if Jesus is Yahweh.
Yeah, but it's what they would argue is it's a non-sexual thing.
But
Muhammad,
that's a lie, though.
That was sexual.
They can claim that all they want, but that is a lie because never has it ever been empirically, scientifically verified or proven in any way. There's many lies in the Bible, and that's just one of them. So sperm must have hit the embryo one way or another, whether it was sexual or not. Sperm hit an embryo. That's the only way to fertilize an egg to produce a human.
Yeah, and for that human baby embryo to develop in the mother's womb, that was a natural thing. Like he didn't just poof Jesus as an infant onto a manger.
See, I'm a
he
theist, but I
used
don't,
a
I don't
woman.
believe in the supernatural. I don't believe in a supernatural God. I believe in an entirely natural God. It's all naturalistic. Just because you don't have the naturalistic language to describe something doesn't mean it's supernatural. It just means that you have yet to discover the naturalistic literacy to describe that thing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's again, when you're dealing with people who are religious, though, they just bounce around, these things, and they bounce around logic, and they bounce around fact,
Yeah.
and there's always exceptions. Well, when God did it, it wasn't quite the same. It's always excuses,
Well,
after excuses.
I love having the supposedly objective moral argument with theists, because I especially face to face, because I know the moment's going to come where I'm going to eat their ass on that argument, dude, and they're going to have to admit that they are also a subjective moralist, because they will say that, okay, there is objective absolute morality. Murder is bad, huh? What about these times here in the Bible where God killed and commanded his followers to kill? Oh, well, that was good though. Oh, okay. So stealing is bad, huh? Okay, well, what about the time in the Bible here where God steals and commands his followers to steal? Oh, that was good because God commanded. Oh, okay. So you back them into a corner where ultimately they have to admit that they are also a subjective moralist, but ultimately they are that. There's no such thing as objective morality. And I even go farther. I say there's no such thing as objective truth. Anything that you call truth is entirely dependent upon a subjective mind observing that truth. Truth has no meaning outside of an objective perception.
Yeah. Well, these are words, and truth doesn't have meaning outside of a human mind. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But you could take one person, they pass away, they no longer exist. So truth for that person doesn't exist.
But well, it's subjective. But it's subjective, exactly. Based on their subjectivity has come to an end. But any consciousness, every consciousness is the basis for their own subjectivity. So every consciousness is the basis for their own truth, for their own morality, for their own existence. All existence is subjective to the consciousness experiencing that existence.
And that seems sensible to me. Yeah. But when I think of objective truth, I do think there is objective truth. It's just truth that is established through testing and measurability and the scientific method, basically.
Yeah. I got you, but check it out. In order to verify the truth of something, what do you have to do? You got to ask someone else, hey, does this look the same to you? Yeah, that looks the same to me. So you are outsourcing your subjectivity to someone else's subjectivity to confirm it, but it's still subjective. It's still subjective to that other awareness or person that is now looking upon that thing.
Well, I think when you look at it the way you look at it, I could see that. But when I think of truth, someone says, well, is that true? I like to think in terms of, is it factual? Is it evidence-based? Is it testable, measurable by anybody? Whether it be someone alive, myself, if I'm trying to establish what's true.
But you have to defer to another subjective awareness, though. That's what makes it, in my mind. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just telling you what I think. I believe in extreme subjectivity. To me, there is no such thing as objectivity within a subjective consciousness. If you can't multiply subjectivity even unto infinity and call it objectivity. It is still inherently subjectivity, just like you can't multiply 0 by infinity and call it anything but 0.
Yeah, but it's how we use the words again. And when I'm using the word true, I'm more using it in a scientific methodological.
That's a very common atheist thing. Atheists have to believe in 100% absolute objective truth, because for a lot of atheists, that's what they use to get away from religion, So I understand that, that's a very common atheist thing. See, as a theist, I get to play all fields, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think of myself as a free thinker. These are just the way I've developed my thoughts, and my thoughts can change. All right, they're not always, in an exact box. I mean, I might learn to understand something differently than I wasn't thinking about it before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Me too. And my thoughts are open to change. My beliefs are open to change. I'm flexible. I don't have to adhere to a rigid thing. What I'm telling you is just kind of what I landed on, but I'm definitely open to change or evolution of ideas. I'm totally open to that.
It's I got a comment. Marriage isn't to be between human and human, ? Can you marry a ghost? I guess in a certain way, if
imagination is a powerful tool. You can identify with whatever the flying fuck you want.
Exactly. If you believe in ghosts, I mean, yeah, I guess you could marry a ghost.
I want that person that said that. Are they Christian? And there's a reason for me asking. There's a reason for me asking that. Okay, there's a reason.
I mean, in the imagination of human beings, within that framework, anything and everything is possible, right?
Well, and I asked that, is that person Christian that asked that? Because most Christians see themselves as married to Jesus, who is essentially a ghost. You see what I'm saying?
I remember that. We're all the bride of Christ.
Yeah. So if that person that asked that question, and originally they asked it like being snarky, but if they're a Christian, then most Christians kind of see something. I don't want to speak for all of them because there is variance within Christianity, but a good percentage of Christians see themselves as essentially married to Jesus, who is essentially a ghost. So to answer the person's question, that happens every fucking day, especially among Christianity.
You know what the hard part for me talking to like Christians is? Like you just said, Jesus is a ghost, but they'll say, yeah, he's a ghost, but he's not a ghost, but he's a man, but he's a God. It's like,
well, it's
on and on and on.
It's what do they call it? Where you have the three cups and they switch it around.
Yeah.
Trying to find the quarter under the cup. A shell game. That they're playing a shell game with that.
Yes.
And they get to pick and choose when Jesus is a God, is a man, or is a ghost, because it's literally called the Holy Spirit or the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. I know. I like to say Holy Ghost a lot because I find that it tickles my humorous side. The Holy Ghost.
Lou, I was wondering if you or any theist that might be interested in moderating debates for theists, and this because I asked that because I was recently watching this debate between the Hebrew Israelite, and he was debating some Muslims, but they had other Muslims as moderators, and the Muslim moderators kept siding with the Muslims. So I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, these theists really need like an atheist moderator that won't side with anyone. That they're more impartial and they can just more truly stick to the rules of a true debate. And I know you've already told me that you're like, you don't want to get too mixed up in theist stuff, but so that's why I said not particularly maybe for you, but I was just thinking of my Hebrew Israelite guy that I talked to, and because I told him this, I'm like, you guys need a fucking atheist as your moderator when you do debates, man, because they had a Muslim moderator, and this guy is hilarious, Captain Caesarea. Check him out, he's hilarious. He thinks that all white people are going to be his slaves. He's just like he's a black dude. He's just like the KKK, only black. It's fucking hilarious, dude.
Isn't that a part of like the Hebrew Israelite thing? It's very race.
Yeah, he's part of the Hebrew Israelite movement.
Yeah, and there's a big race element in that.
Yeah. They're super racist. They want all white people to be their slaves. And they will sit there and tell you that they're the real Jews, that the people that call themselves Jews these days aren't the real Jews. They're the real Jews. It's hilarious.
So Faith Beyond Fear says Jesus is alive, so not a ghost. A ghost supposedly is alive, right?
Well, imaginary friend. Well, I'm a theist, but I openly admit I believe in imaginary friends. But I bet you he won't.
We're all children of Christ. So Christ is my father. I mean, it's already getting strange.
Well, I will agree that we are all children of the one true Creator, but I diverge from Christianity because they say no, only Jesus is the Son of God. No, we are all the Son of God. And actually, I just came across a verse today that said that we are all gods. We are all the Son of the Most High. There's actually a verse in the Bible, I forget which exact number it is, that says that.
Oh yeah, and there's a whole theology around that too.
Yeah,
and it's still a Christian theology, but it's also considered heretical by like the more orthodox ones, you know.
Yeah. But see, it's funny how, to me, if you're a true believer, then you must take every single word in the Bible literal, okay? And you must live, kill, and die exactly as prescribed as your chosen holy book. If you are a true believer, most followers of Abraham are actually fake-ass believers. They're just cultural believers, just kind of going with the flow. You know, they like to reinterpret all kinds of verses and not take them literally exactly the way it says right there. Like there's that one verse where Jesus says, you must hate your mother, you must hate your father, you must hate your brother and your sister, you must even hate yourself to love me. And they will bend themselves and fucking into a pretzel trying to defend that. Where obviously, if Jesus was a God of love, he would have said the opposite of that. He would have said, so Jesus is omni-malevolent, not omni-benevolent, okay? Because a benevolent God would have said, in order to love me, you must love your mother, you must love your brother, you must love yourself. But that's not what he said. He said the opposite. He said you must hate everything in order to love me. And they will come up with all kinds of apologetics to justify that. But what you're really saying, Christians, when you come up with apologetics to twist the plain black and white words right in front of you, what you're really saying is that I know better what those words are trying to say than what they're clearly saying right there. That's a soft admission that your God is not truly all-knowing. Christians.
This Adasanani says, "Who is the one true Creator?" Now I know that's a question for you because I don't believe in a one true Creator.
Yeah. So there is no one name that you can say that will define the one true Creator. The one true Creator owns all names ever spoken. The one true Creator, I call it the fractal singularity omnimatrix. There is no one name that you can say, and that as soon as you try to say a name for the one true Creator, you then separate it from every other name within existence.
So
that's my understanding.
Deep State Annex says, and when Christian missionaries went to China, they actually ran into Jewish communities, believe it or not, in Nanking. And I told the black Israelite that, and he put his finger in his ears. I told him the reason why people were hostile to him was because he was being racist. The first Christian missionaries who made it to China actually ran into Jewish communities. And you get Zaraf. I hate these handles because I have a hard time pronouncing them.
Captain Tizara
Zaravak says, and you know this how? Again, towards you, Darklight.
Oh, I got you. I got a perfect answer for that one. Because is that the captain? Is that Captain Tizariak? Is that Captain Tizariak?
It doesn't say captain, but you know.
Oh, okay. Well, that could be the Hebrew Israelite that I'm talking about. So I know this how. I'll tell you exactly how I know this because, okay, the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran, those are idols, okay? And what makes it an idol is when you say this here physical thing is the source of divine revelation. Okay, a physical thing is never the source of divine revelation. Our divine sovereignty is the inseparable connection to the one true creator, and that is the source of divine revelation. So I get my divine revelation from my divine sovereignty, which is my inseparable connection to the one true creator. Now, totems are fine. A totem is anything that you make. So essentially the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran, those are all totems, okay? And totems are beautiful things. A totem is meant to serve as inspiration for your future self looking back on it, and for any other co-creators looking upon it, to inspire them to look within to their own unique connection to the one true creator. Okay, but the minute you take that totem and say, see, let's just pretend, okay, this thing right here is the source of divine sovereignty. Okay, when I did that, I just made this thing an idol. Same exact logic applies to your Bibles. When you say this here Bible is the source of divine revelation, you then elevated that thing, that totem, into an idol. Now, I don't have any dogmas or scriptures commanding or demanding that I harm my fellow man. I just like to point out when followers of Abraham go around pointing their fingers saying, idolater, idolater, idolater. I'm like, actually, little buddy, you're an idolater.
Yeah, I don't. I often think of Jesus as an idol. I think of Yahweh as a type of idol. I mean, all those, they are very similar to idols. It's just
and especially the cross. The cross is an idol.
When it's your religion, you don't see that. It's like,
yeah. So, and especially the cross. Okay, see, to me, Jesus himself isn't an idol, but the Bible is an idol, because the only, for Christians, the only way to know Jesus is through the Bible. Okay, and this is what I'm saying. They are constant. You're not allowed to know anything about Jesus that isn't in the Bible. And if you say you know something about Jesus that doesn't come from the Bible, they want to call you a heretic. So essentially, the Bible itself is the idol. The Torah itself is the idol. The Quran is the idol. And the followers of Abraham have to do this in order to manipulate people into relinquishing their divine sovereignty unto the systems and establishments created by followers of Abraham.
I think that the Bible is an idol for many people. But if you were to say that to, I think, most Christians, they'll say, well, no, I have the Holy Ghost. I'm not going by the Bible because I have to have the Holy Ghost to interpret this Bible for me. Right?
But still, to them though, the Bible is the source of divine revelation. That's what makes it immortal. See, I got excellent arguments for all this shit.
Yeah, I'm just saying that they take the conversations in all these different directions.
Well, I don't need for them to validate my perception, just like they don't need me to validate their perception. But when asked, I will absolutely give my perception.
Yeah. But I think that a lot of people believe in God much more for psychological reasons than they care to admit. Like they're seeking meaning, and the religion that they're taught and the God that they're kind of indoctrinated to believe in gives them a meaning, and it gives them a plan that feels comforting to them, and I don't need that anymore in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to feel comfortable. I am comfortable. I don't need, I feel like I'm beyond that, like personally. It's like I don't need to feel comfortable because, I believe in some divine plan. I feel comfortable because I am comfortable.
And really, paradoxically, that makes them more uncomfortable. The more they get into most people now, some people truly find more comfort the more they delve into the scriptures, but a lot of people the more they delve into the scriptures, they actually get more uncomfortable because they start uncovering the seams. They start pulling the strings, and they start finding these contradictions. And once they find the contradictions, now they got to figure out some kind of mental gymnastics to make those contradictions make sense.
Yes,
You know?
and this is why it's very interesting, but this is why a lot of people who go through advanced theological studies
Yep.
end up turning away from the
There
faith.
you go. Yep.
Because they're being honest in their quest. And even though it's designed to keep them in the faith, a lot of them get out of the faith just by studying their way out.
Yeah, and I just found this out kind of recently, but when you go to theology school, they actually make you sign something saying, no matter what I learn, I will still maintain my faith, you know?
Yeah. Because they do learn some stuff if the school is somewhat honest, that'll make them think, oh, that doesn't make sense, you know?
I'm sorry, I got a bunch of puppies running around.
Then another reason I think people believe psychologically again is community. You know, it gives them a sense of community, family. You know, when you become a Christian, I remember when I became a born again Christian, you know, going to church, and now I'm brother, you know.
Yeah,
so I have like this family.
It's a fake brotherhood, though. It's a fake brotherhood because you're only their brother if you suck their God's dick with them. But the moment you stop sucking their God's dick with them, now all of a sudden you're not no brother no more. That's not a true brother.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it's what it is it's like a fake friend type of thing.
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
I'll be your friend if you believe what I believe, but if you don't, then I'm no longer your friend.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a gang. That is just like a gang. If you capitulate to the ideology of the gang, you're in. But the second that you say, "Nah, this ain't for me," you're out. That is not true brotherhood.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but it gives you a feeling of that, you know.
Yeah, false or not, it still gives
when
you
you first get into it. You know, you're indoctrinated into a religion, and you're love bombed, and people come around you and say, "Hey, brother, you know, we're all in this together," and all that, and it gives you a feeling of, you know, wow, this is my real family. You know, my real family isn't even necessarily my mother, father, brothers and sisters anymore in that way. My family is the people who believe what I believe.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
And they'll use verses like the one we discussed earlier, where in order to love me, you must hate your family, essentially. You know, they'll use verses like that to justify this kind of cultish acceptance or non-acceptance.
Yeah, like your family is no longer your family, and your family becomes this religious family.
Yes.
That's what goes on.
That's why I think it's so important, the work that people like Durante Lamar is doing. You know Durante, right? The atheist?
Yeah, I mean, I watch his videos when I can. I've been seeing him for a few years now. Yeah.
No, but Durante Lamar has become my favorite atheist. So, like, I spend a lot of time watching atheist content. I love your guys's generally, because not all atheists are created equal, right? You definitely got some low IQ atheists out there, but most atheists are very well thought out. Durante has become my favorite atheist. He beat what was his name? Alex O'Connor, the English guy, was my favorite for a while, but he's so prim and proper. I can't relate to that motherfucker. But Durante, I can relate to him. Like, I was raised in hoods, dude. I was raised in hoods.
I definitely relate to Durante more, and because I'm, you know, I have a ghetto streak, of course, myself.
Yeah.
You know? So I can understand that stuff.
Durante has spearheaded building community, building community for everyone, like community outside of the bounds of religion. But with him, he accepts everyone as long as you're not a dick. You know, like, he accepts me in there. So, I mean, I'm theist. I don't go around pushing my theology. If someone asks me, I will tell them. You know, like we had a group face meeting like a week ago where there was a handful of people from the community, all on screen and stuff. And I didn't start saying anything in my beliefs until they started asking me.
Here we got the Catholic traditionalist. Welcome in.
Howdy, partner.
Yes, hello there. Good evening.
How you doing?
Very good. How you doing?
Okay.
Pretty good.
I can't complain. I'm a little sleepy, but I'm drinking my Monster.
Been better, been worse. It'll be all right.
So, how are you, Catholic traditionalist?
Yes, I'm doing great. Thanks be to God.
All right. What would you like to talk about? Anything in particular? My question of the day that I just posted was why do people believe in God? I'm sure you have a good answer for that, being you believe in God, right?
Well, sure, because God has revealed himself to us through general revelation, natural revelation, and divine revelation.
Now, what about you personally? Like, has he revealed himself to you personally?
Yes, through general revelation, he's revealed himself to all mankind. He's written it upon our very hearts, minds, and consciousness that he exists, whereby no man has any excuse.
That's like a script to me. I'm being real and honest and straightforward. I'm curious because you're a person and I'm going to respect your beliefs. All right. But why? I'm asking, did God reveal himself to you personally, not generally,
Yes, even from my earliest memory, I remember believing that God exists, and that's before I was ever told there was a God. So when I was like 3 or 4 years old, just looking around, like at nature and surroundings, I knew that there was some being that created it all.
Yeah, but that's so let's say if I'm putting it on me, right, and taking it away from you for a second. I go out for a walk. I see trees, I see birds, I see, lots of stuff, natural stuff. You feel that is God, or that's God revealing himself to me? Is that
Yes?
what you think?
Yes.
Now, but I don't think that way. So he's not revealing himself to me. And I'm going to say, maybe he did reveal himself to you, and maybe that's good for you. I get that. But when I take a walk and I see a tree, I don't know, that's God. No, I don't see it.
Well, in divine revelation, which is Holy Scripture, he makes it known that he confirms what I knew all along, which is that he's gone ahead and made himself known to everyone, not only by writing himself and his laws upon our very conscience and being, but also with regards to everything that he's made, whereby on their day of judgment, no one will have any excuse.
I just, to me, I mean, and I'm not trying to be harsh on you. I'm trying to actually be really light. To me, what you're saying is you believe certain things. Okay.
Yes, I do believe certain things. Yes.
You believe certain things.
Yes, I do. We all have beliefs.
I'm talking about something that is real, not a belief. All right. So I'm asking, did God come to you? All right. Not a book, right? Not a story, not an indoctrination, not a belief you had, not a vision you had, not a dream you had. I'm talking about, did God himself come to you?
Yes, he came to all mankind 2,000 years ago as the person of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but you weren't around, were you?
Well, I think you asked if he came down to us. So
no, I'm talking about, I didn't ask if it came down to people.
Well, he came down to me in that sense. In other words, I know that he came down as Jesus Christ because it's been revealed, through his prophets that is what he would do, that God would come down and atone for our sins and save us. And we also have the testimony of his own apostles, his disciples, those who studied under his apostles and disciples. Yeah. And we also have empirical evidence that of
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Like, for example, we have a photographic image of Jesus.
That's the shroud, supposedly, whatever. But you're still kind of. I mean, I don't know if you're getting what I'm asking as far as you.
I think
Do you
he's
mean
at,
do you mean he magically appeared to me in my kitchen or something like that?
That
No.
you yourself, like we're all human beings here, right? We got 3 humans on the stage here, right?
Yeah, I just answered your question. He didn't appear to me like in my kitchen, like in human
Okay,
form. No.
so what you have, if that didn't happen, right? And he's not speaking directly to you, right? What you have is a belief. That's what you have.
Well, no, I have knowledge because, again, from the very beginning, when I was a child, I knew that it was created by some being. And I knew that it would make sense, knowing that everything was created by some being, even though I wasn't told that some being created everything, that this being would make himself known to us at some time in history. And sure enough, we see evidence of that with regards to both natural revelation with everything that he's made and divine revelation, whereby he's spoken through his prophets, came down as himself as Jesus Christ, spoken to his apostles and his disciples, given us a church and Holy Scripture.
Yes, but I'm gonna, for the sake of this discussion, because I do disagree with you, but for the sake of this discussion, you're talking about him revealing himself to other people, not you directly.
Well, again, I've already said he didn't appear in my kitchen like in human form and say, "Poof, I'm the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm God." He didn't do that. No.
Okay, so
experience.
are you willing to say that is your belief, or are you saying that this God is somebody, because he would be a person, that this God is somebody that you directly communicate with on a day in and day out basis?
Yes, I communicate with him, absolutely. And he's communicated with me as well, by the way.
Okay, and do you have any evidence of that, or is that just something we have to just believe?
Well, I don't have physical evidence of it, but I know what I witnessed.
Which is good.
And I wasn't the only one that witnessed it, by the way. Others witnessed it as well when it happened.
Yeah, but
I think something like that is what Lou was asking. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. This was back in 2002. I had broken my wrist. I fell off a ladder when I was painting my grandfather's home. And a buddy of mine, he told me about this place in Bayou Pigeon, Louisiana, where it's reported that many miracles were taking place. And he said, "You never know. Hey, maybe if you go there, they pray the rosary on the first Saturday of each month." It's an old Catholic church used to stand there. So since then, it's been removed. There's a lot of reported miracles in that area. So I said, "Hey, why not?" At that time, I wasn't a devout Catholic like him and his father. But I said, "Hey, you know what? Why not? I'll take a leap of faith." So I went there, and was praying the rosary with the other people, a bunch of mostly older people, elderly people, a lot of old ladies. And as I was praying the rosary, I could smell roses. And I didn't know this at the time. But I was told afterwards that apparently when you smell roses, and there wasn't any roses anywhere around, by the way, when you smell roses while praying the rosary, it means that the Blessed Virgin Mary is nearby. The mother of our Lord Jesus Christ. Now, after praying the rosary, the one of those little old ladies was taking photographs that, with one of those Polaroid, those Polaroid cameras that they'd had back then. None of the digital stuff.
I used them.
Yeah. So she said after taking photos of the surrounding area, like the statues, because it was near a cemetery, and again, where the old church used to be. But she was taking pictures of the sky too, and that's one of the reasons why I approached her, because I thought that was unusual. I was like, "Well, this is interesting. What is she doing?" And what she told me is that things appear in the photos after taking the photos. Unusual. What she would say miraculous things. So, I was a skeptic. So I said, "Can I take a look at some of them that you've taken previously? In previous months?" So she handed me several of them, and I didn't go through all of them. I was just looking at the one on the top, the very top photo that was in my hand, and trying to make out what she was seeing, because she believed that it was a picture of a blue sky with clouds on the right hand side, and she thought the clouds took on the shape of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And I could kind of see it, but I was like, anybody could look at clouds and make out anything. What do you call that? Parabolia or whatever. So there's some term for that. I forget the name of the term. Yeah. So I said, okay, well, let me go ahead and bring this photo over to my buddy and his dad and see if they see. So about 4 or 5 minutes later, I did that. I went and bring it over to them. As soon as I walked up to them and showed them the photo, right at that very moment, there's these little black splotches that began to appear on the photo. It took maybe about 15, 20 seconds for me to make out what they were becoming. They became around, I don't know, I didn't count them, but it was around maybe, 7 or 10 crosses, Christian-shaped crosses. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And they saw it as well. They were shocked as well. So then I said, well, let me look on the other photos underneath. And same thing, all the photos, every single photo underneath that photo had those same crosses. I'm assuming they all appeared at the same time when the crosses appeared on that top photo. I don't know. I wasn't looking at the bottom photos. So that right there is an example.
Do you feel that the God did that?
Well, I believe that since we're praying the rosary and this occurred after we prayed the rosary, I believe that it points to that God. Could it be, the Q from Star Trek or some, demon? Maybe. But I believe that since we were praying the rosary that day, I believe it's pointing to that God.
Well, I would ask you, do you think it's possible? Forget about likely, because I see where your mind is at. But do you think it's possible that there was a natural cause to this?
Well, could you tell me what natural cause would do that?
I can.
What would that be?
Hey,
Robert might.
yeah, that's a Polaroid picture sitting on an AC vent where it has individual crosses, and the AC vent cools the pack and cools the chemicals inside of there, and they develop slower. So whenever you take the image, you'll have a cross image that appears on them because they were sitting on the AC vent, and the individual crosses that run across them will wind up cooling specific areas inside of the pack. And then when you get the development, you'll see those will show up black, and it looks like a group of crosses that comes across the image. I mean, that's one simple explanation just with it sitting on an AC. But I think if you wanted a supernatural explanation, that's the easiest way to go for it.
Okay, but there's only one problem with your explanation.
Okay.
None of the photos that I was holding was sitting on an AC vent. It was sitting in my hand.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we get these kind of claims. It's not just your religion. It's not just your faith that's producing these claims. And it's not just your faith that has produced them historically. So not even Christian religions, we get these kind of claims that people have talked to other gods. We get Dionysus, we get Saturn people. They're communing with their gods, having conversations with them, had supernatural experiences. So it's not that we just tacitly dismiss all of these claims. It's that what do we do with all of the claims that were not even from your religion? They're from a totally different religion with a totally different God. How do we rectify them? Do we give them the same credence and say, oh, they must have been talking to Dionysus or to Saturn or to Thor or Wotan?
Do you know of any of these the other religions other than the Christian religion where scientists have analyzed these reported, quote, miracles, unquote, and found that it defies all naturalistic explanation and all laws of physics?
Yeah, I don't know any, and I don't know any in yours either that scientists have evaluated these in that way. I know a lot of them that people inside of religious claims have claimed that they are, but when you look at them closer, it's either not a scientific organization, it's a religious organization that was trying to promote their narrative. I mean, you take the Torah, the cloth that you were mentioning earlier. You mentioned that cloth, and that cloth has been rebutted on every single field, and it has failed at every scientific level to be the Shroud of Turin. Now, it has 3 marks against it, and let me tell you the 3 marks that it has against it. When it first showed up in the 1400s in the documentation, what we had was from the priest that was writing to the Pope, said that he spoke to the man that said he made the cloth and said that it is a fraud, and he wanted to make the Pope aware of it. The Pope said that it could be displayed as long as it was displayed that it wasn't authentic or real. So it was displayed in that manner. So the first time we ever had it show up in literature, it was a fake. Secondly, not only did we have the chemical analysis on the thing that showed what its dating was, and it dated it from the 1400th century, which is the third strike, but in fourth, inside of the scripture and inside of Josephus, where he talks about the burial tradition, he says that they placed a cloth upon the face so that the face would have a separate cloth that wasn't even with the rest of it. And this was confirmed in the book of John in chapter 7 and chapter 20, verse 7, that says Jesus had a cloth across his face that was set separate when it was folded. So this cloth cannot be. It just cannot be. This is 3 strikes against it. It's not authentic.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the cloth. The name of that cloth, that smaller cloth, is called the Sudarium cloth, and it actually does exist. And what they found is that the blood stains on the Sudarium cloth matches up exactly to the blood stains on the head region of the Shroud of Turin. And what they know is that that Sudarium cloth predates the supposed carbon dating test of the shroud by centuries, based on the historical accounts of the Sudarium cloth. So that shows that the Shroud of Turin would have to, hold on, I didn't interrupt you once, sir. Please be respectful. So we know that the Shroud of Turin couldn't be only created at that point with regards to what the carbon dating test shows, since the Sudarium cloth's bloodstains match up exactly with the bloodstains on the Shroud of Turin. Not only that, but the image on the Shroud of Turin is in the nanometer range. Scientists have tried to get image on cloths in the nanometer range. Some Italian scientists tried to attempt to do it recently, and they failed. They said it would take a far more powerful laser, which simply doesn't exist on Earth today. So that right there also shows, something that scientists can't explain. There's no naturalistic explanation for the image itself on the cloth. And also, with regards to your claim about the dating, a new dating test was done recently using wide-angle X-ray spectrometry, which did show that it dates back to the time of the cloth because it was able to negate certain fibers and that was found on the samples themselves that the scientists in 1988 didn't realize was there, cotton fibers. The rest of the shroud doesn't have those cotton fibers. So the scientists theorized that this must be a weave job, like a repair job, where this was fixed, the corner of the shroud. That's where they took the samples from. And so that would throw off, they themselves, the scientists admit, that would throw off the carbon dating test.
Hey, Catholic traditionalist, is this the reason that you believe in God, that there's a shroud?
No, I already told you. You don't remember that when I was a child, when I was around 3 or 4 years old, just looking around at nature, I knew, not simply believe, but I knew that there must be some being that created everything. And that it was confirmed by, hold on, and that it was confirmed by Holy Scripture and the Church, by revelation from God, both natural revelation and divine revelation.
What makes a scripture holy?
What makes a scripture what?
Holy.
Holy.
What makes a scripture holy?
Well, holy is being set apart from the rest of the world. So God is set apart from the rest of the world because the world rejected him.
Scripture.
So, and also,
you said holy scripture.
Yes, holy means set apart. That's what I'm telling you. Holy means set apart.
The scripture that you're reading is holy. Is anything that I read holy, or is it just what you read?
I don't know what you read, but with regards to the word holy, it means set apart. And I mean, in other words, it's with God, being one with God, set apart from the world. Because the world is a creation, God is not a creation. He is the creator.
So if I read a book, let's say on physics, right? Is that holy? Well, not holy.
No, it would not be divinely inspired. No. What God has gone ahead and revealed is divinely inspired because it's from God. And again, so God is set apart from the rest of the world.
Disregard physics when I read in a holy book that a man rose from the dead and went into the sky and is now controlling the universe. I can just accept that holy book and disregard the physics book, because the physics book isn't holy, right?
Well, that's what I just told you. The physics book is not holy. Correct. The physics book is not holy. The science books are simply mankind's attempt to explain reality around him. Mankind admits, scientists admit that with regards to their science books, they can always. Well, hold on, sir. You asked me questions. I'm trying to give you an answer.
Yeah, but you're going round and round and round. And
you don't want me to answer the question you just posed to me?
I want you to answer directly.
That's what I'm attempting to do, but you're interrupting me.
It's my channel, my friend.
So since it's your channel, it's okay to be rude?
I'm not being rude.
We're not being rude.
Well, interrupting someone as they're answering your question is rude.
As you, a person who thinks that a physics book isn't holy, and that I'm to believe a book that tells me that defies physics, you're saying I should accept the example from the holy book instead of the physics book. I mean, are you not telling me that?
Yeah, so what I was trying to explain to you before you interrupted me is that scientists themselves admit that with regards to anything in their books, that it's not truths. They're not making truth claims. In other words, any theories that they put forward is not a truth, because they themselves admit that theories can be altered or even changed or even done away with completely given new information over time.
Correct. And they don't admit. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Dark.
So you're implying that the Bible is the truth then, right?
No, I'm explicitly stating the Bible is the truth.
Okay, so if I can find things within the Bible that are clearly proven to not be true, then that would disprove that claim, because that is a claim that you're making that the Bible is true. And so if the Bible is true, I should not be able to find one single thing within the Bible that is untrue, right?
Well, there might be like a scribe error, something to that effect. But with regards to the stories of the Bible, those stories are true.
Okay, well, there's a problem with that because there's definitely some archaeological, some scientific, and some historical things stated in the Bible that are empirically proven to be untrue.
Such as?
The Bible claims that Egypt was barren for 40 years. That is proven to not be true.
Where's that at in the Bible?
I don't know the exact verse, but it's in there. Do you not know it?
Okay. Well, I can't just go ahead and take your word for it. I need evidence if you're going to go ahead and make claims.
I don't really take the word of a book just because it's said to be holy. So
but you don't believe in any god or gods, correct?
But we're in the same position. You don't accept, right, that this is in the book until you see it, right? But I'm supposed to accept a book is holy, and
Ezekiel chapter 29 verse 11 through 12 says that it was barren for 40 years.
Where is it? Ezekiel
chapter 29 verse 11 through 12.
Okay, well then that's a truth if that's the case.
Then it just is. It doesn't matter what we find scientifically. It doesn't matter. It's just wrong because that thing is just intrinsically true. That's brainwashing. Yes,
but scientists themselves admit that with regards to science, they're not putting forth truth claims. Whereas with the Bible, God is revealing truth claims. I don't know why you keep saying
that. Show me. We showed you where you said. So you showed me where scientists collectively say that, please.
Yes. In fact, like for example, I was listening to Coast to Coast Radio the other night with George Norrie, and Michio Kaku was on there. Are you familiar with Dr. Michio Kaku?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a very famous physicist, and he himself admitted, because George Norrie always asks these questions about the Big Bang and about science and so forth. And Dr. Michio Kaku admitted that with regards to the Big Bang and other theories, that these are not truth claims, that science does not put forth truth claims as if these are dogmas revealed like divine dogmas. Because he was making the case that theories, which other scientists, not just him, Lawrence Krauss said the same thing, Dr. Lawrence Krauss, that with regards to theories, they're just that, theories. It's just mankind's attempt at explaining the world around them, not that their explanation is a definite truth, because again, theories can be altered. Scientists admit this. They can be altered, changed, or even done away with, whereby new information is obtained. So
There's a
nobody in
difference between
science is putting
scientific
forth a
theory-
divine dogma truth claim.
There's a difference between a scientific theory and historically proven facts. And it is a historically proven fact that Egypt was not barren for 40 years.
Well,
Or
how
the
do you know
temperature
that
that water
tomorrow
freezes
they
at
won't
is a
find
scientific
more
fact.
evidence that shows that it was barren?
It was not. And also, they have not found
Whoa,
any.
whoa, whoa. I just
archaeological
asked you a
evidence.
question. You're just saying it is not. How do you know that they won't find tomorrow evidence that it was barren? How do you know that?
I don't think he knows that.
There is no evidence.
Same way you knew at 3 years
Okay.
old that there just had to be
Okay,
a creator.
so
You just know.
so you're
You
saying
throw
there
it
is
around,
no
know.
evidence. You're saying there is no evidence. You know definitely that there is no evidence. That's like saying, I know definitely there is no there's not any gold on Mars because there's no evidence there's gold on Mars.
There's no definitive claim being made. The claim being made is that there is no evidence. That's not definitive. There might become evidence.
Exactly.
There might
That's
be
my
evidence.
point. There might be evidence. So therefore, when he says he knows definitely that this is not the case, he doesn't really know.
I don't think he said he knew that.
Yes, he
in the
did. The
future-
word knowledge came out of his. He said no. He knows that's not the
You
case. That's
say
what he
you
said.
know that in the future that no evidence might come forth. That
Yeah,
that
I'm
might
talking. I'm not
change
talking about that guy. I'm not talking about Robert. I'm talking about Dark
Yeah,
Light.
I'm talking
Dark
about
Light said
Dark.
he knows that's not the case.
He's talking about what we know now. I
Great.
don't think
So
he's
he knows. No, but
I don't
but
think
I
he's
asked him, how
referring
about
to
tomorrow?
possibilities that happen in
No.
the future. I don't think.
But you didn't hear the question I posed to him, apparently, because I said, how do you know tomorrow there won't be evidence that will come into light, which shows that that is the case and proves the Bible right? He said, oh, because I know that's not the case.
Okay, let him speak for
Because
himself.
this
I don't
issue
want
has
to.
been studied. This issue has been studied.
Okay.
They studied. They
See?
studied if Egypt
See?
was never
See, I
barren
told
for
you
40
he's
years.
defending it.
It was studied.
He's defending it.
Let me ask this question to Dark, trying to reframe what you were saying, and maybe it might mean something different, all right, to him. But Dark, are you saying that in the future there could not be evidence that comes forth that would indicate something different than what scientists know today?
I'm saying in regards to Egypt, it was studied and it was found that Egypt was never barren for 40 years.
I
In regards
agree.
to Egypt.
He didn't
think
answer your question.
I
He didn't
think
answer
we
your
all
question,
agree.
Brooklyn.
I'm going back. I think we all agree with that. I think even Catholic traditionalists might agree that there is no, this is not what we know, right? But he's saying that, well, how do you know in the future something might happen that would change that science? And I'm saying
Because
my
that
answer,
has
my
been
answer
studied.
is, yeah,
Archaeological evidence has been studied. They have records from all the surrounding countries and cities around Egypt, which confirm from outside sources that Egypt was never barren for 40 years. So to answer your question directly, no, I do not think it is possible that tomorrow they're all of a sudden going to discover that it was barren for 40 years. But you're not going to accept that, I know. But you were asking me if I believe it's possible that tomorrow that they will discover that it was barren for 40 years. And I'm telling you, no, I do not believe that it's possible that tomorrow they're going to discover that.
Now, no scientist, no credible scientist would ever say what Dark Light just said, because scientists have an open mind whereby they're always open to new evidence.
Okay.
Well,
and are you open to any
evidence
evidence that the Bible
that
is
the-
contradictory?
I can't. You guys are talking over each other. I can't hear what you're saying.
Are you open to any evidence that the Bible is contradictory?
Well, I just asked Dark Light. Obviously, I'm open because I just asked Dark Light to make his
He
case.
gave you one explanation. How about one that wouldn't be contradictory with science? It's contradictory with itself. Could both of the things be true? If they're mutually exclusive incompatibilities.
I don't know what you just asked. Something about something being contradictory with itself.
Let me give you a primary example. If I say there is a cubical sphere, can a cubical sphere exist? If a sphere is by definition something that has no corners on it, and a cube is by definition, or a cube is by definition something that has the 8 corners on it. I mean, can it be a cubical sphere? These things seem contradictory. They can't coexist. Am I right?
You're asking if a cube can be a sphere?
Right.
As far as our reality, from our standpoint, no.
So if there's things in the Bible that it can't be both this way and that way, would you say that without any scientific explanation, that it just can't be, that's an error?
Now, I got one on this. I am theist, and there are actually scientifically verified contradictions. Not all contradictions are created equal. You have contradictions that are easily disproven, but you also have contradictions that are scientifically proven, such as the wave particle duality within atoms. It can be both a wave and a particle simultaneously. So there are
dependent on observation, though. That's the state of observation. It can be in this state of observation, or that's that state of observation, and it's acting like a particle or acting like a wave. But it depends on the type of observation.
Yeah. So
yeah,
you go ahead.
I was just saying there are verified not all contradictions are created equal. There are
sure. I grant you that.
Like the one you just put forward, that's easily disprovable contradiction, but there are scientifically verifiable contradictions. But the contradictions you're asking about aren't the scientifically verifiable ones. You're talking about the ones in the Bible, which are not scientifically verifiable.
Okay.
Are you asking me about suspending the laws of physics? Is that what your question is in regards to?
No, I'm saying, let's say, for example, let's get down to the nitty gritty, and let's say Matthew chapter 27 verse 50 suggests that the cloth that divides the temple, that it ripped in half, and then Luke 23 and 45 says this, and these are two different gospel accounts, and one says that it happens before Jesus died, and the other says that it happened after Jesus died, that it was rent in half. So is this a problem? Did somebody just mess the story up? Does one of them get it wrong?
I'd have to go back and look at it. From my understanding, some gospels may not mention something, and other gospels may mention something, but I'd have to take a look at that to see. I can't comment on it unless I take a look at it. Now, you don't believe in any god or gods now, do you?
Right, I don't. And I believe that specifically the Bible is one of the worst consistencies. Like the Quran is more consistent than the Bible. But I think that's expected, because the Quran is written by, more of a singular person, whereas the Bible's written by multiple different people. So contradictions and differences, they're not univocal. People have different opinions. I don't think that God's sitting on their shoulder moving their pen. So contradictions from multiple authors is expected.
Yeah. Now, let's say I define God generally as just an intelligent agent, that has the power and ability to, let's say, instantiate and oppose all states of affairs. It didn't have a beginning like you and I. In other words, not a creative being. You don't have positive belief in that God, right?
Right. And I don't think that God, what we generally refer to as the philosopher's God, is rectifiable to the God of the Bible. So I think what apologists argue is they argue the philosopher's God, and they start doing PSR, principle of sufficient reason, or they start doing this first cause argument. And none of this is biblical argument. None of this is Bible argument. So they're trying to rectify. I could do the same thing that you did with, I looked around when I was 3 or 4 years old and said something had to have created this. Therefore, Toodles, the penguin, invented all this. And there's nothing that can connect, that can devalidate that, except a belief in a different, some other thing must have did it. It wasn't Toodles. It was Jojo, the turtle at the very bottom of all the turtles. Right? I mean, there's no particular reason you can connect your God to that proposition that something had to have made all this. Even if we granted you that, you can't just shove your God in that place and say, it was ours, instead of the flying spaghetti monster or any other satirical or any other, traditionally worshiped God.
Well, I could, and this is how I would do it. Because God went ahead and revealed that he is an intelligent agent, a thinking being, who has the power to instantiate and pose all states of affairs as the creator, the ultimate creator. and that he didn't have a beginning like you and I. He's not a created being. So
Right.
he fits
Most gods
that
have that claim.
definition that I gave of a general God.
Right, right. Most gods have that claim. I mean, there's many gods that have that claim, even most of the satirical gods. I mean, there was not a beginning to his noodly appendage, you know, even in a satirical sense, much less those that came out of the primordial waters or whatnot of Egypt, that the primordial waters were constantly existed, and Ra finally emerged forth from the infinite primordial waters. Or you look at the gods of India. I mean, their god Brahma, right? This is just forever. It's just always has been the case. So how do you substantiate that that is not the God that created everything? Why wasn't it Brahman?
Yeah, well, because remember, you said that the general definition I gave to a God does not fit the biblical God, but I just showed you how the biblical God does fit that general God.
How did you?
And now with regards to the other gods that you bring up, these gods are not eternal gods. Instead, they had a beginning. Like,
Right.
for example, this turtle is a created turtle. Didn't exist for all eternity. It wasn't the ultimate with regards to creating all turtles and all humans, nor was the Zeus or Aphrodite or who is it? The Odin. None of them. They all had beginnings.
Zeus's father was, though. Chaos was for eternal.
Okay, but with regards to chaos, we see that chaos is not. Wasn't who was chaos? Which one was that one?
He was like a titan. He was the father of Zeus. He was the one that eat all the babies when they bring the babies to.
Okay. Don't we see that the Zeus and the others that lived in that whatever place that's called, didn't they defeat the Titans?
Yeah, I don't think he was
okay.
Killed,
So that God, right? So that God would not fit the definition I gave to the one true God, because the one true God is the ultimate with regards to instantiating and imposing all facts. So it would be impossible for Zeus to defeat that God.
Yeah, there's no reason to think that God in the Bible instantiates all facts. There's just no reason to think that.
No, we're talking about with regards to the gods you brought up. I'm just showing you asked me about the gods you brought up. I'm showing you how they would not fit that definition I gave to a general all-knowing, all-creator God that instantiates and imposes all states of affairs. Whereas the God of the Bible actually reveals that he is that God. He reveals that he's the one that is the creator of all things. He reveals that he had no beginning. He reveals that he's an intelligent agent. So he would fit the general definition I gave to a God.
But
Brahman God. Brahman said he was that.
Yeah, my God has the same definition as your God, but my God is that turtle.
Right.
Well, so that God is a turtle, but a turtle is a thing in the universe that is a created thing, so it wouldn't fit that definition.
No, not my turtle.
Yeah, you can't.
So in other words, you're saying that the definition I gave to my God, you're saying you're calling it, instead of calling it God, you're calling it turtle. Okay, I'll accept that. Then what you're doing is you're conceding to my worldview that God exists, and you're departing from. Hold on, let me finish.
I'm not conceding.
So you're running away from your atheistic worldview and not defending your atheistic worldview. Instead, you're trying to create a hypothetical worldview to somehow negate my worldview, but instead you adopted my worldview in doing so by claiming that, yes, there is this creator, this being, that intelligent agent who has the power and ability to instantiate and impose all states of affairs. It didn't have a beginning. In other words, not a created being. So you're conceding my point that this being exists. You're just calling. Hold on, I'm not finished speaking. Hold on, I'm replying to Brooklyn, not Robert.
Honestly,
so you're just calling this. Instead of calling this being God, you're calling this being turtle. Yeah. So in other words, instead of calling this being God, you're calling this being turtle. So that's fine. We can call this being turtle together. You've actually conceded my point.
This turtle.
Thank you for admitting that God exists. Oh, I'm sorry, turtle. We'll call him turtle. But thank you for conceding that he exists.
This God.
Now read your holy turtle.
Yes, this God that has all the attributes that you're describing. All right, is a turtle that is invisible, undetectable, and he's a spirit turtle. And for you, you just said that's acceptable to you.
Well, yeah, you're just calling my God turtle. That's fine. It's just a description of my God by calling him turtle.
You're just calling our turtle
naming
God.
it. You're just naming him turtle. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Your God is a description. Your God is a description. That's the point we're making.
Well, hold on. You said that he fits my description. So therefore, he has everything that my God has. Therefore, that's fine. I'll call him turtle as well. Thank you for conceding that God exists.
Not only that,
exists.
Turtle God already defeated your God. So what?
Well, no, because in order to be God, there's only one ultimate with regards to anything and everything that secures all possibility and impossibility. So therefore, you can't say, "Oh, my God defeated your God," because we're both in agreement that that turtle God exists. You're actually conceding my point that that turtle God exists. I will gladly call that God turtle if you'd like, because now we're both in agreement that God exists. So you've conceded that God exists. Thank you.
I'm actually trying to get you to understand that what you're doing is just defining a God that you believe in. That's it.
I see. I see your point now. I see your point. So I'm just defining it. So I'm not really proving. I understand. So I'm not proving that this God exists. Is that what you're saying?
Has all the characteristics of your God, but my God is a turtle, invisible, undetectable, and somewhere.
Okay, so let me say for clarification.
God is as real as your God.
Okay, so for clarification, you're saying that I simply defined a God, but I didn't prove that that God exists, correct?
Pretty much, yeah. You didn't prove.
Okay, well, I can get you to prove that that God exists.
As you say on the streets, you didn't prove jack shit.
Okay, well, I can get you to prove that that God exists just by asking you a few questions. Would you be willing to play along?
I'm gonna prove that God exists.
I will.
Yes, are you willing to play along?
I do.
Brooklyn, are you willing to play along?
Of course. If I prove to myself that God exists, then I'm gonna believe it.
Great, thank you. So my first question is, why are you an atheist?
I'm an atheist because I do not believe in gods or a God or gods. That's why.
No, you just gave me the definition of an atheist. I said, why are you an atheist?
Because I fit that definition.
Okay. I know you fit that definition. That is the definition of an atheist. I'm saying, what is the reasoning that you use to come to the conclusion that there is no God?
Because I have yet to see any good, solid evidence of there being a God outside of what people may believe.
Thank you. So not with regards to the set of all things, but only the set of things that you, Brooklyn, perceive to exist. How did you determine?
Because it's me who has a belief, just like it's you who have a belief.
I didn't get my question out. What are you talking about? I didn't ask the question yet.
I'm saying yes.
How can you? What are you saying yes to? I didn't ask my question yet.
Okay, ask the question.
So not with regards to the set of all things, but only the set of things that you, Brooklyn, perceive to exist. How did you determine that all those things is not evidence for the God that I defined earlier?
Why would I have to prove that? I don't even understand the question.
I didn't say you have to prove it. I asked you, how did you determine? Because you said there's not any evidence.
I told you
how did you determine that all those things that you perceive is not evidence for the God that I just now defined?
I didn't make that determination. You asked me why I'm an atheist, and I told you why I'm an atheist. I didn't talk about all the things in the world and all the things that have ever existed.
I love your question. I think it's perfect. I'd love to ask it back to you about Brahman. How did you determine
so Brooklyn, you said you have not made the determination?
About all things in the world? No.
Okay, so then would you assert right now that with regards to all things in the world that they do necessitate the God that I just now defined?
No, definitely not.
Well, how did you determine that they don't?
I didn't determine that. I don't believe it.
Okay. So with regards to all things that you perceive to exist, would you say that those things are intelligible to you? In other words, they have the characteristic whereby they're capable of being perceived by you?
If I perceive them, then yes.
I didn't ask whether you perceive them. I already stated that you perceive them.
Stop going in circles. You asked
I didn't
me
ask whether you perceive them.
You asked me, did you not ask if I'm able to perceive these
I
things?
never asked you whether you're able to perceive them. Instead, in my very question, I conceded that you're able to perceive them.
I'm not able to perceive all things.
I didn't say you were able to perceive all things.
There are things that may.
I didn't say you were able to perceive all things, sir. I didn't say you were able to perceive things, all things.
Okay, then what's the point?
I'll ask my question again because apparently you didn't hear my question.
I probably heard it. It's probably a dumb question, but I'll answer it.
So not with regards to all things. Remember, I said that in the beginning. I said not the set of all things.
Right. Some things, right?
Only the set of things you're perceiving, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Now, with regards to those things you're perceiving, see, I'm conceding that you're perceiving things. I'm not asking you whether you're perceiving things. I am stating that you're perceiving things in my very question.
Right. Okay. I got you so far.
So with regards to those things that you're perceiving, would you agree that those things are intelligible to you, at least on a basic level, that they have the characteristic whereby they are capable of being perceived by you?
Capable of being perceived by
two different questions. That's two different things right there.
Are they capable of being perceived by me?
No, yeah, those things you're perceiving, are they capable of being perceived by you?
Yes, because we already stated that I perceive certain things. So if I'm going to say I perceive something, then it's capable of being perceived. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, if something were imperceivable to you, if it had the characteristic whereby it was imperceivable, okay? Right. In other words, you're capable of perceiving things, but this particular thing
I can't perceive
based on its own characteristics is imperceivable.
Right.
Would you be able to perceive it?
Obviously not.
Okay, thank you. Now, are you the cause? Do you have positive belief that you're the cause of all things outside of yourself, like all the galaxies, stars, supernova, black holes, all the people on Earth, all the atoms in the universe?
I don't think so.
It's my position that nothing exists outside of myself.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing exists outside of myself.
Okay, so thank you. So, Brooklyn, so since these things are intelligible to you based on their characteristics, and you're not the cause of these things outside of yourself, if you look up the definition of intelligibility, since they're intelligible to you, you'll see that it's, quote, the state of being intelligible. And if you look up the definition of that, you'll see that it exists not as a concrete physical thing. In other words, you can't take the state of intelligibility, wrap it up with Christmas wrapping paper and give it to somebody as a Christmas gift. You know, you can't put it in the mail and mail it to somebody. So if you look it up, and you don't have to believe me, you can look it up yourself, you see that it exists as an abstract thing. And if you look up abstract things, you'll see that abstract things necessitate a mind for its very existence. Well, you just admitted that.
What am I proving here?
Yes, I'm about to land my plane.
God
you just admitted
he exists in your mind just like everything else you've been talking about.
Yes, so you just admitted, Brooklyn, that with regards to all these things outside of yourself, with regards to their very characteristic, you're not the one that's causing any of that. You've just admitted that. Yeah. And yet you've also admitted that with regards to their very characteristics, that they abstractly have that characteristic of intelligibility, ontologically so. Okay. So that means since you're not the one that's instantiating and opposing all ontological intelligibility itself, and I know I'm not doing it, I don't think Robert's doing it, I don't think dark light is doing it.
It's
I
the
think
So
turtle,
there must be
man.
some
I think
other
it's
mind that's
literally-
doing it because
it's literally
it exists
hilarious.
as an abstract thing. And this is why you're spurging out and getting defensive, because
No,
you
I'm not
realize
getting-
that
How
this
does it have to be
completely
intelligent?
refutes
I
the
have heard
atheistic
this
worldview.
philosophical garbage
It proves that a
for
mind
many
is
years.
responsible for all ontological intelligibility itself, and atheists have no argument against this. They have no rebuttal.
Listen,
I
I'm
don't
not
understand how you
attempting-
got there.
Hold on. I'm going to say something, and Robert, you can talk. All right. I have heard these crazy philosophical garbage for many years. So
It's
nothing you're saying, I haven't heard. All right.
Okay, what's your rebuttal?
Okay, it's my answer, and it's for me because I don't go to someone to tell me how to answer things.
Hey, we all get to answer this one.
But it's simple for me. All right. Abstract is not real. That's my answer. So abstract and concepts are not things, but they are important. It's a thought is important, but it's not a thing. All right. God exists as an abstract concept in people's minds. He used to exist in my mind as an abstract concept. He did not come in my room like you said in the beginning. He didn't sit here. He's not here talking to me. Okay? But I can imagine or have an abstract concept that he is, but that doesn't mean he is. So he's not a thing. He's no thing. He's nothing. What he is an abstract concept. So that's my answer. Now,
But your answer had nothing to do with the argument that I put forward. I wasn't making
Yes, it
any
is.
argument as to whether or not God was concrete or abstract. My argument was with regards to all ontological intelligibility itself, with regards to everything and anything we're perceiving, that those things themselves have, by the very characteristic, the state of being intelligible. And you've admitted that you're not the one instantiating and imposing that state of being intelligible, and that state of being intelligible is not a concrete physical thing, but instead an abstract thing, which necessitates a mind. So since you ruled out your mind as being the cause for the state of being intelligible, ontological intelligibility itself, and I know my mind's not the cause, Robert's mind certainly isn't the cause, Dark Light's mind isn't the cause, and yet there is some mind that is the cause, because again, abstract things necessitate a mind for its very existence. And I'm not saying that it exists in the real world, like in other words, if you imagine a chair, that somehow that chair exists in reality, that would be a concrete thing. But I said, if you were listening to my argument, that, quote, the state of being intelligible, unquote, is an abstract thing. And there is some mind that's instantiating and imposing that abstract thing. It's not your mind, because you've already admitted it's not your mind. But there is a mind that's doing it, and that mind is the mind of God, obviously.
It's your turn to
that's
listen.
what you believe, Catholic.
It's your turn to
Now,
listen.
do any of you have an argument?
Yeah, motherfucker, I do. Yeah, I do. See, I am a theist. I believe that I am God. We are all God. So you kept speaking for me, saying, "Oh, Darklight doesn't think that anything exists." Actually, the only thing that exists is me. All that exists is me within my perception, within my subjectivity. So you kept speaking for me. That's why I kept saying, "Don't speak for me, motherfucker," because I'm theist. I'm not atheist.
We're three different people here. Yes.
All consciousness is an extension
I have
of
a
the
different one too.
No. Well, you're not a theist. You're a polytheist, because you just said everybody's God. So you're a pagan polytheist.
I'm not polytheist. I'm a non-Abrahamic true monotheist. Okay. See, and
No, you just said we're all gods, plural.
Yes,
So that's
yes.
polytheism.
I said we are all God singular. We are all an extension of the Godhood, because I do not observe separation. I observe unity. If I observed and capitulated to separation, then I would be a polytheist. But I am a non-Abrahamic true monotheist. I believe that every single one of us is God's life. The living God is living through our lives.
How did God reveal himself to you?
Do what?
How did God, this God, reveal himself to you?
I am God. I looked in the mirror, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, so you looked in the mirror and God? Okay.
Hey,
All
Dark
right.
Light.
Okay,
At least there
well,
was
this has
something
been
there
fun,
looking
guys, but
back.
I gotta go. You
Listen,
guys have a
Dark
good
Light,
night.
At least there was something
At
there
least
looking
I
back.
know you're real, Dark Light.
Listen, you can't just drop that and leave. Nah. What's your answer, Robert?
No, I just think it's hilarious. I subscribe to that. There's two different states that we have: the physical reality, as Kant said, the noumenal and the phenomenal. So what we have is we have the phenomenal that we experience, and then we have the noumenal that is the world in of itself beyond our perception. So I do believe that all of us have our own individual phenomenal experiences. What I perceive in the world right now and the ideal that I perceive you two as on screen, this is entirely conceptual inside of my brain. But it is being reflective of a actual physical reality, which is what Kant referred to as the noumenal. I'm trying to think what Descartes had a different name for it, but it's the world in of itself that would be here regardless of our perception of the reality, right? So it didn't really need an answer, because he did a 2 + 2 is 12. Prove me wrong, mic drop, and like, no, we don't have to. What you're saying doesn't make sense.
I want to say something, Dark. I will say that at least I consider you real. Okay, and you are more real than his God is. That I will say that. You're a thing, and his God is no thing. So.
Yeah, I am a monotheist. Okay, I believe we are all an extension of God. God is living through our lives. That is how can he be the eternal living God, yet he is separate from each one of our lives? That is nonsensical.
Yeah, I don't know if you're more from the Spinozian position or more of a pantheistic, or where exactly you're at on it. Do you tend to identify yourself with more of those types of titles, or something close to them, or what?
Well, I'm creating my own theology, but essentially I'm a non-Abrahamic true monotheist, but I do not come to my monotheism through the scriptures or dogmas of Abraham. Sure. So I don't have their limitations into my theism.
Yeah, you sound, what you've said so far is very close to Spinozianism, right? It's very close to them, which is something that, to some degree, Einstein started entertaining a little bit.
The closest thing that I have found that resembles my theology is called omnitheism, but my theology is way more developed than omnitheism.
Okay.
But I'm more. I do consider myself. I identify as monotheist. I'm a true monotheist. I'm more of a monotheist than Christians are. I do believe. I think that Jews are the closest to the true monotheism. Christians are a dualistic bitheism. If you believe in two separate kingdoms, each ruled by a maximally great ruler, because two kingdoms under two different rulers, that is not a monotheism. That is a bitheism.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I generally would call a benign theological point of view. It's not something that ever does kamikaze bombing or tries to pass certain things that are fundamentalist in our schools.
I don't have any scriptures or dogma that command or demand harm on my fellow man. And actually, that's the biggest problem I have with Abrahamic theology, is that anytime I go to talk to an Abrahamic theologist, a Jew, a Muslim, or a Christian, I ask them, will you disavow the verses in your holy book that command, demand, and justify you harming your fellow man? That's my biggest question that I have to them. And most of the time they will say, no, I won't, because they know that they are in a blood cult, and they know that their peers will want to kill them if they disavow any of their verses.
Well, let me ask you one, and it's far less severe, obviously. Could you be wrong?
Oh, absolutely. Everything's imagination. Everything's imagination. Yeah, but if we're all living in imagination land anyway, I'm going to drink my own goddamn Kool-Aid.
Fair enough.
And I accept that answer too.
You pull my theology right out of my ass, dude. And I'm happy to admit that. But the thing is, so do they. Abrahamic religions pull it right out of their ass, except for they can't admit it.
Definitely. I do agree with that. Okay, at least you are admitting it.
Yeah,
It may very well be right.
I can respect that more than someone who just goes in circles trying to defend something and doesn't even
Well, that was a semantic game. That was a semantic game. They like to cast these barriers around and say, and they create these narratives that try to drive you in a certain direction. That way they can say, gotcha. But notice he wasn't letting us interject. He kept saying, don't interrupt me. Yet he wasn't letting any of us talk, because he had to cast his narrative out. He couldn't let anyone stray from the narrative he was casting the whole way.
A semantic ladder is what we call it. They do these steps of building, that they build this layer. Okay, now come with me a little further. And then we get, okay, this 2 represents this thing. And then we get this equation kind of thing at the end. Therefore God. So we were all trying to work towards that. But the problem is, it doesn't matter how bad that logic is, even if we follow it and it's completely correct. At the very last moment, you can change out their God with another God and say, absolutely. Toodles, right? And so it's always like, look at the trees, man. The fact that trees exist are proof that, and I'm like, Zeus, right? You can always just change it out and say all of these things are proof that, and whatever other God, So
I realize, Lou, that I haven't answered your question fully, which I believe I've told you in the past, like a year ago or whatever. But to answer your question directly as to the prompt of this live, why do I believe in a creator? Okay, it's because I am a creator. I create the world that I live in. That is why I believe in a creator, because I am a creator. It's basically a look at the trees, except for it's a look at the creator. But I am that creator. That's why I believe in a creator.
But you don't believe in the traditional creator gods that we generally hear in religion.
Well, because traditionally, especially with Abrahamic religions, they cast that creator as something that is separate from you. That's why the dude bounced as soon as I started coming up with good arguments as to why I am God. He's like, I can't have this. I'm out. Motherfucker thinks he's God. I'm out. So well, not only do I think I'm God, I have excellent
arguing from your framing is completely different than the Abrahamic God people.
Yeah,
it's completely different framing.
And especially once I start dropping my arguments that counter their arguments, that they don't like that. They don't like that.
So it's not solipsism from what I'm getting from him now, Philbert. When I first heard him say it, when you were making the argument earlier, 100%, I was like, this is solipsism. This dude is a solipsism, has a solipsism position. But that's not actually what it sounds like it is the more that I talk to you. This doesn't sound like solipsism. That I am a person not being created by your mind, right? You don't see me as a person that's created entirely by your mind, existing only in your conceptual reality.
No. Everyone is God. Everyone, like if I disappear, you still exist. Except for you just don't exist to me.
Gotcha. Yeah, Mighty Philbert, I thought the exact same thing when I first heard it, and I was like, "Is this no?" And which, I mean, hard solipsism is a problem that, at a philosophical scale, you can't truly disprove it, but.
Yeah, I'm kind of adjacent to a couple fringe theologies out there that I've discovered, but I just do my own shit, man. Like it's all imaginary anyway. It's all non-provable anyway. So I just do my own goddamn thing,
I enjoyed Buffy. I'm actually I only wanted to pop on here because of some of his absolutely ridiculous arguments about the Torah. And I did look into that alignment for the facial cloth and all, and they don't align. They just don't align.
I don't like. It fascinates me because I try my utter best to try to be rational. Okay, now I recognize I'm capable of being irrational. All right, but I value rational thought. And in what I'm experienced when I talk to apologists like that is not rational at all. It's just circular, and it's I hate to say it. I call it bullshit or garbage. It's
circular bullshit. But see, the thing is, the Torah specifically says, do not add to or subtract anything. Okay, and so when the Christians come along and they add an entire new covenant, and then they subtract all kinds of shit from the Torah, they then create a totally divergent Yahweh. That is Yahweh Jesus versus Yahweh Hashem. There are totally different gods, but then the Christians will want to base all their authority off the Jewish God, while at the same time creating a totally provably different God. But they want all the authority of the Jewish God, while at the same time undermining the authority of the Jewish God the entire time. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I enjoyed, gentlemen. I am going to bounce, though. It's good talking to you, Lou, as always. Hey, Dark Light, good talking to you, man. Take care.
Good to meet you, Robert.
Yeah. I'm going to listen on the side here a little bit, but I got to do some other things.
All right, I am writing a theology book, and I'm going to need some people to drop reviews on it and give me some feedback on it if you're open to that later in the future. All right.
Sure, absolutely. My email is listed on my channel. I'm a Skeptic Philosophy, and
Okay.
I YouTube a little bit. And I think I've talked here over on the side. You'll see me on Skeptic Philosophy. You can click on that, and all my
man. I'll go subscribe to you.
Hey, thank you, man. Take care. God.
All right, man.
So anyway, that was fun. I enjoyed I enjoyed that. Now,
well, I enjoyed it more before bro jumped on. We were having fun before he jumped on, but
well, I like the give and take and attention, but I'm finding it really, really difficult to consistently have to deal with what seems to be, when you look at things logically, as a bunch of bullshit. Okay. And it's like, when I've heard it, over and over and over, and I've already thought about it so many times, it's like I have a hard time even getting into it with these people anymore. It's like,
well, he wasn't being intellectually honest, because I saw you were trying to have a hypothetical thought game that you were trying to play with him, trying to show him that his perception of God is just a hypothetical thought game, and as soon as you started trying to play with him a little bit, he's like, okay, that means you're admitting that I'm right, which is totally inaccurate.
I mean, did I admit he was right?
Never. That did not happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's so dumb. It's like it gets so frustrating. I mean, when I'm dealing, it's like I'm not even dealing with reality anymore. Like once they go into these things, it's like, what in the world are you talking about? I didn't say that.
Yeah. He was saying, I knew there was God when I was a kid, but then that makes a huge leap when he goes into, now I know it's the Christian God. That's a huge leap, going from, I believe in God, but now all of a sudden it has to be the Christian God all of a sudden, because the Christian God made claims. But you know who made claims before the Christian God was the Jewish God, who the Christians appropriated. And the Jewish God made claims too. And the Jewish God made claims, you cannot add to or subtract anything in my Torah. That was the claims of the Jewish God. But then the Christians want to come along and say, oh, we got claims too, and we're gonna appropriate the power, the supposed power of the Jewish God, but we're gonna change everything about it, though. My overarching point is they are totally divergent, different gods. The Christians created God in the image that they wanted to worship. Then they gaslight both the Jews by saying they worship their God. Then they gaslight the world by saying that no one can create God in the image that they want. Motherfuckers, y'all been doing it for 2,000 years. What are you talking about?
Like, at least I keep complimenting you tonight, Darklight. At least you're a God who speaks. I hear you. Okay?
See?
All right. His God doesn't speak.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
His
If I am
always has to have a person like him speaking for him.
Yeah,
Because
at
his
least
God
I'm speaking
doesn't
to my
say a
own God,
word.
which is himself. His God can't even speak for himself.
Exactly.
If your God is so powerful, why does your God need all these people to worship and capitulate to him? That is not all powerful.
It's so unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
always God this, God that, and it's never coming from God. It's never coming from a real person that I can identify. Right? It's always coming from a guy, a book, a saint, a holy. It's like,
Like, you're the god of your own world too, Lou. It's not just, we are all the god of our own world. We create the world that we live in. Okay, through our beliefs, through our thoughts, and through our actions, we create the world we live in. That's why I say I know I'm a creator. That's why I know that there is a penultimate creator, but it is not separate from us, which is what Abrahamic followers would have you believe, that that creator is separate from you. The creator is intrinsically interwoven into us.
yeah, and I never spend time critiquing all that you believe, because I look at what you believe, it's equally or more logical than what they believe.
Yeah, it's consistent logic, and that is something that see the first story he was trying to tell, where he's like the Polaroids. First off, that's what you were asking the whole time. Give me a personal experience that you had, and it took him a while to get to that. That's why I told him, just tell us the story, bro. That's what he was trying to ask you. If you have a story of why you personally believe that, tell us the story. So he said the thing of the Polaroids. But dude, there's people all around the world and all kinds of different religions that have similar stories like that they will call miraculous, that they will say prove their God, which is a different God,
Yeah, of course.
But yet he will reject those stories and only accept the stories that seem to confirm Christianity. That's the cognitive bias.
Oh, totally cognitive bias, and totally unfalsifiable in any way. I mean, there's no way, his God, which is defined in these ways, right? That it's impossible to test his God, to talk to his God, to
and you were trying to make that
his God.
as he was telling you all these things, you were just making a hypothetical parallel just to show him
Yes,
that
you got it.
I can use my imagination to make the same God that you got, except for different and better.
That's why I was doing that. I mean, obviously I don't believe in the turtle God, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on, Lou. I appreciate you, man. You're wanting to roll, right?
What's that?
You're wanting to roll out?
Yeah, I'm gonna get off in a minute.
Done with this shit? All right, man. Well, thanks for having me on. It was fun, bro.
All right. Have a good one.
It was good to see you again, homie. All right. You have a great night, man.
Bye.
All right.
So anyway, glad I had some fun tonight. Glad I got to talk to a few people. And thanks for anyone, Mighty Philbit, Zero Voke. I definitely don't say that right. But thank you for coming by. It's like really important to me, and it makes a lot of says a lot for me, because I want people to participate in this channel that I'm making. So, folks, have a good night, and hope all is well. Thank you for coming by. Bye.